Chapter 279, The 130th Warrior. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Although the vessel spirit of the Earth Board was very powerful, it had its limits. The vessel spirit itself could actively send messages to its body split, but the body split could not send messages back to the vessel spirit. If the body split wanted to communicate with the vessel spirit, it could only do it with the help of a spiritual crystal. So, Zhang Yuoquan's result wouldn't be sent to the vessel spirit. As for how to communicate with the body split, that would be Lei Jing's problem. After all, the body split was controlled by the Martial Market Bank. Lei Jing was the highest principal in the Martial Market Bank in the whole Oman Ridge. Naturally, he managed the body splits as well. Zhang Yuoquan would have asked him for help if this was not the case. Zhang Yuoquan said, "I challenge the 130th warrior on the Earth Board, Wei Yuan." Before entering the secret room, Lei Jing had told him that his ability was about the same as the 130th warrior on the Earth Board. So Zhang Yuoquan picked this ranking as his first challenge. He was also curious about whether he could defeat an opponent who was at a similar level to himself. In the secret room, Wei Yuan's name started to shine. The spiritual chi formed into a man in his 30s. It was Wei Yuan. To be more precise, it was a spiritual body created from Wei Yuan's data made by the vessel spirit body split. Every warrior's speed, strength, mentality, martial technique, language, habitual action and so on was recorded by the vessel spirit when they took the Earth Board test. Once the vessel spirit had this data, it could form a spiritual body as strong as the warrior himself with spiritual chi. "You want to challenge me? What an arrogant boy." Wei Yuan's spiritual body was almost the same as him. He sounded like a domineering person when he talked. Zhang Yuoquan held the Abyss Ancient Sword horizontally. "Whether I'm arrogant or powerful, there's only one way to find out." Wei Yuan sneered. "Very interesting." Wei Yuan stretched out his arm and a 3 feet long blue spear appeared out of the void space. It looked like a long spear with a dragon tooth tip. It gave off an icing air. This spear, the heaven-shaking spear, was made from an entire iron meteor. It weighs 2,150 kilograms and has 57 inscriptions inside it. It is an 8th level genuine martial arm. "Can you even block one slash?" Wei Yuan's voice echoed in the secret room like thunder. Holding the spear with 2 hands, Wei Yuan's eyes glowed golden. He swung towards Zhang Yuoquan's face. Although the heaven-shaking spear had been formed with spiritual chi, it contained all the heaven-shaking spear's power. As he swung, the whole space shook and loud piper sounds rang out. Wei Yuan and Zhang Yuoquan were very close in terms of speed and power. Wei Yuan also had a wealth of real combat experience. When he made a move, 7 shadows appeared alongside. It looked like 7 people were attacking at the same time to seal Zhang Yuoquan's every movement. Wei Yuan wanted to win with just one move. Zhang Yuoquan uttered a long deafening cry as he stabbed his sword. It clashed with the heaven-shaking spear, making loud noise and sparks. Boom! Although it was only 2 weapons clashing, the noise they made sounded like thunder. It was strong enough to pierce a common warrior's eardrum. They were both jolted backward by the clash of their weapons. Zhang Yuoquan wasn't able to stand steadily until he retreated to the stone wall of the secret room. A great pain emanated from his sword arm and his right side had become numb. Wei Yuan was only slightly better than Zhang Yuoquan. He stopped after retreating 7 steps. But Zhang Yuoquan had predicted this. That was because, during the first round of the strength test, Zhang Yuoquan had shown the power of 32.2 brute elephants by using 9 folds of the elephant power. It had been 7 times stronger than usual. Wei Yuan's strongest power was also equal to about 32 brute elephants. Although Wei Yuan's power was enhanced by his martial technique, it wasn't 7 times stronger. Without the 7-fold increase, Zhang Yuoquan's power was weaker than Wei Yuan's. How can your weapon be so sharp?" Deep cuts could be seen clearly on Wei Yuan's beloved heaven-shaking spear. The Abyss Ancient Sword had almost chopped it in half. With one slash, Zhang Yuoquan had half destroyed an 8th level genuine martial arm. The heaven-shaking spear was made from an aerosiderite, and it had inscriptions to protect itself. It should have been difficult to damage, even with a 9th level genuine martial arm. How sharp was Zhang Yuochen's abyss ancient sword to destroy it with just one slash? Don't you think the weapon is also a part of a warrior's power? Asked Zhang Yuochen. Don't get cocky. It is your weapon that is strong. When it comes to real power, you've got nothing on me. Wai Yuan put the heaven-shaking spear aside. A blood wave 9 meters in diameter appeared beneath him. It was known as the divine stage blood wave. Oh woo! Stepping on the blood wave, Wai Yuan moved at his fastest speed. His palm reached Zhang Yuochen in a mere second. Zhang Yuochen's arm had regained its power. He turned around to avoid Wai Yuan's handprint and stabbed towards his left rib cage. Absolute capture. Wai Yuan stretched his arms out like an eagle and dashed towards Zhang Yuochen. His arms moved in a circular motion to form a Taikai map. His fingers kept changing from a hook, to a dagger, to a beak. The void space shook as he moved his fingers. Zhang Yuochen's face changed slightly in color. Just as he was about to step back, he suddenly realized Wai Yuan was clutching his wrist and that the meridians in his right arm were sealed. You're a disciple of that Ji sect, Zhang Yuochen exclaimed, clutching Zhang Yuochen's wrist tightly with absolute capture. Wai Yuan sneered. Well, it seems that you have a bit of insight. Yes, I am a disciple of the Liangyi sect of Ji sect. Don't tell me you just realized this now. Why was it that no one in the Omen Ridge could enter the top 3,000 of the Earth Board? It was because the top 3,000 were monopolized by the disciples from the so-called 3 upper classes, namely first, second and third class forces. It was very impressive, therefore, for Seek Sinkong and Jiang Tangai to even enter the top 10,000 of the Earth Board. To those from the 3 upper classes, the Omen Ridge was merely a small country village, and its strongest suzerain only a 4th class suzerain. There was no way for warriors from small villages to compete with them. What's special about Liangyi sect? Liangyi sect might be too sacred and powerful for other warriors, but our abilities are about the same, and you are still no match for me, even if you are a Liangyi sect disciple. Zhang Yuochen declared. Wai Yuan sneered. If you know Liangyi sect, you must know how powerful absolute capture is. Even a saint can't escape once captured. Really? But you haven't mastered absolute capture. You can't restrain me. Zhang Yuochen let his fingers loose and dropped the abyss ancient sword. Wai Yuan's face changed as he grasped Zhang Yuochen's arm. His hand went up slowly. Soon, he had grabbed a hold of Zhang Yuochen's shoulder. Wai Yuan stretched out his arm and aimed to hit Zhang Yuochen in the head. Just when Zhang Yuochen was about to lose, a sword breath suddenly flew out from behind and chopped Wai Yuan's head off. His head flew to the ground. His body turned to wisps of spiritual chi and disappeared from the secret room. Swish! The abyss ancient sword flew through the void space and came back to Zhang Yuochen's feet. He is indeed the 130th warrior. I had to use heart integrated into sword to defeat him. But he had to do so. The absolute capture was regarded as one of the 12 most powerful captures. Just as Wai Yuan had said, even a saint couldn't escape once captured. Only the realm of heart integrated into sword could conquer it. Or Zhang Yuochen could have used the power of space domain. But Zhang Yuochen hadn't wanted to use the power of space in this Earth Board test in case the body split of the vessel spirit discovered it. The power of space was his last card, so he didn't want to let it out. After being attacked with absolute capture, Zhang Yuochen's right arm was broken. It was completely numb, and he couldn't feel his genuine chi flowing at all. I didn't expect him to have practiced the absolute capture, and he hadn't expected me to have reached the heart integrated into sword either. Although I won, I have to confess I underestimated him earlier. I wouldn't have needed to perform heart integrated into sword if I hadn't. Zhang Yuochen reviewed this battle. He told himself that in the future, no matter whether the opponents were strong or weak, he must treat them carefully and never underestimate them again. Zhang Yuochen walked out of the secret room. Lei Jing glanced at Zhang Yuochen and saw that he was badly wounded. He asked, "Which warrior did you challenge?" Zhang Yuochen told him, "The 130th. Lei Jing frowned. He hadn't expected Zhang Yuochen to challenge a warrior whose ability was so close to his. He had wanted Zhang Yuochen to challenge a warrior who ranked over 300. After all, every warrior ranking at the top was a god's favored son who was very powerful. Compared to them, Zhang Yuochen was still too young and innocent. It was almost impossible for him to win.